We're really about to talk about this. We're going to get into this Michael Oher situation. For those of you who don't know, I did a video about this whole Michael Oher thing on my basic social politics with JayeDeBlack. I got 3 channels and I'm putting content on three. And make sure y'all click that link. It'll take you to my basic social politics channel. Well, I did the video and I did a video initially. I went over the article and it was a very damning article. Now the family has responded and they are gaslighting. And let me just say, there's a person. I don't know if they're male or female, probably some beta male. You know, he's sending me emails, trying to name call me. And he was saying I was wrong about Michael Oher. Let me tell you something right now. Michael Oher was 18 years old when he was around these people and he signed that paperwork. Why are you signing an 18-year-old to a conservatorship? I think people need to think about that. And why is the family plus their children getting royalties? You cannot explain that away. I don't care who you are. And there's a reason why Michael Oher is suing them. You cannot sue somebody if you don't have a case. Just that simple. There's no trail of him getting a dime from that film. Prove me wrong. Let's see who's here. Travis, Dion Giddings, Ronald, Hey Dot, Caveman, Gaming Foodie, Bella Michelle was good. Miss Tangy, Brian, Turner, Stephen Rom, Trap House, Eric, Keith, Matthew, Gregory, Thomas, Zeke, Jamal, Soldier for Jesus, T-Man was good. Make sure y'all like the stream. We're going to get into this. We're going to react to some videos. People are trying to, they really believe that this white family is without sin. It's amazing to me. And again, I don't play the race card, but they took advantage of it. Let's be real. Okay. There's a reason why they weren't at his wedding, family. Why did they have a falling out? I'm just curious. If Michael Oher got his cut of the money from the film, why weren't they invited to his wedding? Can somebody explain that to me? Why would you have a falling out with people who've done good by you? Explain that to me. You cannot fall out with people who've done right by you. But I will say this, and I said it in my video. Michael Oher should have known better years ago. He retired in 2016. If he's not getting a dime from that film, he needs to start suing. He needs to start sending out paperwork to people and asking, why didn't he get a cut? And apparently in his book from 2011, he explains the whole being the conservatorship. But we're going to get into this. We're going to hear from his own words. And let me say this too. The movie did not portray him in the best light. It didn't. That was a horrible depiction of him. And I could see why he felt some type of way. But I wish he would have, what good, G. Marie? I wish he would have, Prime VA, what's up? Kenneth was good, Caleb. I wish he would have said something sooner. Because, again, if I'm not getting a cut of that movie, I'm going to say something years ago. I don't care if I'm in the NFL. That's one of my main gripes with this whole situation as far as Michael Oher, is that he should have started suing earlier. He should have started suing years ago. I would have started suing years ago, but that's just me. Because if Michael Oher didn't like this film, he should have said something. I mean, he did. I'm not gonna lie, he did. But he should have went after the studios if he weren't getting a cut of the money. He should have, now, let me say this to the people who want to defend the family. Michael Oher broke down how much money the family got. And he broke down how the family got royalties from that movie. Not only did the couple get royalties. They made sure that their children got royalties. That's dirty. And his portrayal was given the green light by the parents. Now, let me say this about Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock played the role exactly how Leanne Tootie wanted her to play it. Because I believe that's who Leanne sees herself as. Leanne is she's a domineering woman. She's a domineering woman. You can see how Michael Oher, he's around this domineering white woman, a teenager, will agree to sign paperwork. By the way, his attorney at the time was a friend of the family. He had none of his other relatives, anybody else were around him. He was in the clutches of this family. And people want to defend this. I'm not defending this family at all. Why would you make him sign conservatorship paperwork? And this is to the people that want to defend the family. Why would they make him sign conservatorship paperwork? Can somebody explain that to me? Why does he need to sign conservatorship paperwork? I thought you were trying to adopt him. Why would he knowingly sign over his life to these people? I mean, if he had went to somebody and said, hey, you think I should sign this? They would have been like, hell no. You're signing over your likeness, everything to these people. And this was before he even got to the NFL. Why would you make him sign that paperwork? Can somebody explain that to me? The people that want to defend the family. Why would you make a teenager sign conservatorship paperwork? Because I know they talked him into it. If it took him this long to come to this conclusion, how do you think the situation was when he was a teenager? And people are acting like, oh, this is good white people. They did right by Michael. How do you know? Why would he have a falling out with them? There have been professional athletes before who lived with Caucasian families who didn't end up suing them. One, because they didn't sign conservatorship paperwork, and two, maybe that family didn't think they'd make it as far as, the NFL, Maybe they actually cared about the young man. But these people, why would you make him sign conservatorship paperwork? And don't say it's for his own good. That doesn't make any sense to me. And there are people who are trying to defend this family and act like Michael is the ungrateful one. Why would you sue people who claim to have done right by you? That doesn't make any sense. Why would he sue people that did, helped him, according to y'all? It's because they saw that there was an opportunity for him to go to the NFL, and they wanted to make sure that he was tied to them forever financially. And that's what happened. These people have been making money off of him for years. Did y'all read that article, or did y'all look at the response from the family and say, oh yeah, I believe these white people? Why would you make him sign conservatorship paperwork? That doesn't make any sense. He was 18 years old. He doesn't need you to manage his life. I definitely do think, Snake Eyes, that he is going to do a part 2 to that, but it's going to be more of a docu-film. This whole thing to me is just, they made him look horrible in that movie. They made him look like the big dumb black guy who needed the white family to just help him get to where he needed to go. Michael Oher had no say over the film whatsoever, it seemed like. Because if he had actually watched that film before they released it, and if I was somebody that knew him and advised him, I say, bro, you can't accept this. Like, I don't know. I just think that he had total belief in that family. I think he had total belief in that family. I think they told him he was signing adoption papers and conservatorship papers. People trying to make it seem like he's just suing them for absolutely no reason. That's bullshit. Yeah, they're angry. You got the son that's doing interviews, right? Oh, he tried to shake us down for $15 million. That's probably how much money y'all made off him. It's crazy. He signed the papers because the Tuohys did not want to get in trouble from the NCAA for recruit. Why would he get in trouble for that? There have been plenty of athletes who have lived with white families until they went to college. They did not have to sign conservatorship paperwork. I haven't heard of any athlete who lived with a coach. I gotta understand, there were players who lived with coaches of their high school teams. Did they sign conservatorship paperwork to that family? Aaron says they are Ole Miss boosters, and they steered him to Ole Miss and deceived him into signing his name likeness over to them back in 2004. I've heard that, Aaron, that they were major Ole Miss boosters. Because y'all got to understand, there was a coach. His name escaped me. I just seen this. Let's see. And he's going, Hugh Freeze, right? Y'all know Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze was his high school coach. I'm going to expand on that, Aaron. Hugh Freeze was his high school coach. When Michael Oher ended up signing with Ole Miss, Hugh Freeze got got basically a quality control job at Ole Miss, right? So I believe that it was a package deal. So I absolutely believe that they were Ole Miss boosters, and they did steer him to Ole Miss, and also it helped Hugh Freeze get a job. So that whole situation was crazy. That's why Hugh Freeze got fired in the first place. Recruiting violations. People said, I know there's somebody said that he signed with them so they wouldn't get in trouble, recruiting violations. That still happened. Because when Hugh Freeze came back to Ole Miss, what happened? Not only did Hugh Freeze get fired, Ole Miss ended up getting violations. So Hugh Freeze got them in trouble anyway. Which is why I say, if you're an Auburn fan, watch out, because Hugh Freeze might take some shortcuts. He might take some shortcuts. Yeah, some of those boosters probably helped Hugh Freeze bring in the escort. They probably did. Y'all got to understand the SEC, there's a lot of dirty recruiting that goes on in the SEC, man. I believe, and people are saying that the father of the Tuohy family recruited Michael Oher to come live with him because he was an Ole Miss booster, and I'm pretty sure he wanted to see Michael Oher go to Ole Miss. So the father is the one that got Michael Oher to come live with them. It wasn't his wife. It was the father. I'm pretty sure she probably argued with him. Why are you bringing this big old black guy to our house? They're worth $200 million because of Michael Oher. Let's be real about this. They're worth $200 million because of Michael Oher. That's why they're worth $200 million. They weren't worth $200 million in 2005. Hold on, let me make sure. I just wish people would have more common sense and understand he's not suing them for nothing. This ain't a situation where he just woke up one day and say, you know what, I'm gonna sue these bastards. Shout out to Brandon Bay. That's a lot of people benefiting off that black man ridiculous. It is. And people are justifying it. They're justifying it, saying, well, they're worth a lot of money. How many rich people have said to themselves, I got enough money, I don't need no more? What? Rich people are always looking for a new hustle. Look at the show that Mark Cuban does with those guys that they invest in people's businesses. What is it called? Shark Tank. Just because you're rich does not mean that you're not looking to make more money. Let's be real about this. Rich people are always looking for a new hustle. They're always looking for a new hustle. This was their new hustle. Shout out to Eric Square. Should all this be true? Not just Ole Miss gonna be in hot water, but this is gonna have NCAA in trouble, and they can't take this L. I think that if they able to, if Michael Oher speaks out and say, you know what, there was some illegal activity going on, yeah, they could definitely be in trouble. Let's not forget her speaking engagements pretended to advocate for adoption. Right. How can you advocate for adoption when you never adopt anybody? But people are trying to tell me that the Tui family did nothing wrong. When you're advocating for something that you never did, you never advocated for adoption. You never adopted. No, you never adopted Michael. How many children has the Tui family adopted since quote unquote Michael Oher? How many children has the Tui family adopted since Michael? Yes, Nick Saban did. But Nick Saban left after the 2004 season, so to go to the NFL. Wasn't he in the movie as well? They had him in the movie as well. Right. You're advocating for something you never did. That is deceit. That is deceit. How many donations have they taken through deceit? And they haven't adopted not one child ever since because they never had the intention on adopting. They're the ones that were putting it out there like they took him into the home and raised him as he's one of their own. They finessed him into signing that agreement. What does an 18-year-old know about a conservatorship? Man, come on, man. Yeah, Saban acted in the movie. He was LSU's coach, right? LSU's coach, right? Talk about a businessman. Nick Saban is a businessman. He's in commercials, right? Appearing in movies. Absolutely, Aaron. Absolutely. That's why Hugh Freeze got fired. I'm pretty sure they found a lot of dirt on Hugh Freeze, and that's why he was fired. Not only was it because of the escorts, it was because of other things. The guy was a recruiting nightmare. He was winning, but he was a recruiting nightmare for Ole Miss. Just because somebody has a net worth, according to y'all, of $200 million does not mean that they're not looking to make $300 million. When you live an expensive lifestyle, you're going to need more money to upkeep that lifestyle. Because again, it's a net worth based off of their speaking engagements, based off of their foundations. That is why they're multimillionaires. Yeah, Nick Saban be grinding. Nick Saban is a grinder. Nobody grinds as much as Nick Saban. Nick Saban he's doing endorsements. He's everywhere. Nick Saban is about his bag, okay? These coaches making millions of dollars still working. They're either working on TV, trying to get another coaching job. They love working. and making money. They even went racial in that movie as well. It's crazy, right? That woman didn't save him. He just needed a place to live. He didn't need saving, but it fit the narrative that people went with. It's crazy. Okay, let's hope I don't have any copyright issues. I've been dealing, man, I've been fighting for my life with these copyrights. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to give y'all, should I play this? Because I'm going to play it through, and then if I have a copyright issue, I'll just go back and take it out. Man, I'm windmilling, like the heifers will say, with these copyrights. They got me out here fighting. This is just a news story to get y'all, brushed up on what's going on. This thing is going super viral.
A feel-good hit that won Oscar Gold, but now the former NFL star whose real-life story inspired The Blind Side says it was all based on a lie. Kaylee Hartung with the stunning claims.
Never had one before.
What, a room to yourself?
Right, Aaron, they did. That was a finesse, but people are trying to pretend like they didn't need the money. Rich people always need the money. What are you talking about? They always need the money.
I bet.
The 2009 film The Blind Side captured hearts on the big screen, telling the story of future NFL star Michael Oher's adoption by a wealthy Memphis family. But tonight, in a new lawsuit, Oher claims it was all a lie. The Tuohy family exploited him for their own benefit, and now he wants to sever all legal ties. Oher alleges the Tuohys have falsely and publicly represented themselves as the adoptive parents of Michael, but never legally adopted him. Instead, Oher says the couple tricked him in 2004, less than 3 months after he turned 18, into signing a document that made Sean and Leanne Tuohy his conservators, giving them full legal control over any of his contracts, but no familial relationship. It's a lie Oher says he discovered to his chagrin and embarrassment just 6 months ago.
Well, a conservatorship is very different from an adoption. A conservatorship does not create a family relationship. It creates a legal responsibility.
With that power, the petition alleges the Tuohys negotiated the movie deal for The Blind Side in 2006. Oher claims the family made millions in royalties, while Oher said,
But people saying they ain't made no money like that.
Hey Jay, there's that scene in the movie where Mike's character is questioned about his choice by that woman to Ole Miss. Cause the lady brought up the family's ties to Ole Miss. So low-key it was in our faces in the movie.
Right, Eric, right. They are boosters of Ole Miss. Those boosters, man, they are some of the most grimiest people. They will do anything to get a recruit to come to their school, man. And this was back in 2004 when the SEC, man, so many violations was going on back then, man. Because remember, the Cam Newton thing happened, in 2010, I think, 2010? And they were talking about what he was offered, right, to go to Auburn. This was 5 years earlier. It was right there the whole time. Those people wanted him to go to Ole Miss. Hugh Freeze, who was his high school coach, ended up getting basically a quality control job at Ole Miss. He left, he came back to Ole Miss years later to be the head coach. And then he ended up getting himself fired for recruiting violations. That's the irony of this. We'll see what happens at Auburn. But we'll see what happens at Auburn, man. Shout out to Liana.
Found you. I has to go looking for you tonight.
Wow. Appreciate that, Liana. It's crazy, right? That's why, I make sure I put up posts on X, which is Twitter, Facebook, and IG on my, in my IG feed to make sure y'all know when I go live. YouTube be playing with the numbers. They be playing with me. They've been feeling a certain type of way for years. So when it comes to notifications, especially on this channel, they already know my live streams be the realest. So they be withholding on notifications. But I appreciate you being here.
He received no payment whatsoever. The Tuohys have not responded to comment, But in their 2010 book, In a Heartbeat, they said of the money made from the movie, "We divided it 5 ways."
5 ways.
Sean Tuohy Jr. said in an interview today the family was not surprised by the lawsuit.
There were things back in 2020, 2021 that were like, you know, if you guys give me this much, then I won't go public with things.
Michael Oher is now 37 years old and retired after playing 8 seasons in the NFL. He is asking the court to end the conservatorship and prohibit the Tuohys from using his name and likeness and pay him his fair share.
And I think he has a great chance of winning or settling out of court. How are they going to prove that they weren't making money off him? Because I'm pretty sure Michael has went and gathered receipts. You know, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you got to check Twitter. Absolutely. You could put up, I think you can click notifications on Twitter. I think you can click notifications on Twitter so you get notified. Yeah, X. Twitter, X. It's X now, I guess. X Twitter, something like that. But they might end up settling out of court. I think they might end up settling because I think he got receipts on him. That's why he went to court. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why they went to court, because he got the paperwork. I saw the breakdown of how much the Tuohys got. Okay? And people trying to make it seem like Michael just made this shit up. He just woke up one day, I'm gonna sue you. I want my money. It's like The Blind Side came out in 2009. What you mean you want the money? I want the money that y'all owe me. Wouldn't they have a paper trail that showed that they have been giving him money for his part? They probably gave him about $5,000. How much I want to bet they gave him about $5,000, $10,000? Guys, this family is worth $200 million. If Michael was or is lying on them, they would put gag order on him for speaking about this in the media with the lawsuit happening now. They can't, because he got paper. I believe he got receipts on him. That's why you got the son out here talking about, oh, he tried to get money out of us in 2020, 2021. Right, he was getting everything together. But you got people out there trying to act like he made this up. Like, why would he make this up? Why would he make this up on these people? I'm confused. Why would he just make this up? Wouldn't they be able to prove? Listen, these are the payments that we gave him. We gave him every dime of what we made. I don't believe that. I really don't. Shout out to Liana for the gift. She just gifted Black and Blue TV a membership. Shout out to Black and Blue TV for getting a membership. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, gave him about 10,000. Probably about 10, maybe 12, maybe 12,000, and just sent him on his way. Listen, if you are rich, you know how to make money and you know how to take money. Okay? You know how to make money and you know how to take money. Y'all, people acting like these people just doing this out the kindness of their heart. I mean, you people are just delusional. What? Then why is he suing them?
Feel-good hit that won Oscar gold, but now the former NFL star whose real-life story inspired The Blind Side says it was all based on a lie. Kaylee Hartung with the stunning claims.
Never had one before.
What, a room to yourself?
A bed.
The 2009 film The Blind Side captured hearts on the big screen.
Hold on. Okay, shout out. Hold on. Okay, Bella. Hold on, I'm about to check PayPal right now. Okay, shout out to Bella Michelle, who's a moderator in the chat, for sending me a 10 on PayPal. Thank you, I appreciate that. Shout out to Bella Michelle with the PayPal.
Future NFL star Michael Oher's adoption by a wealthy Memphis family. But tonight, in a new lawsuit, Oher claims it was all a lie. The Tuohy family exploited him for their own benefit, and now he wants to sever all legal ties.
Let me tell you why it was easy for them to do this. It was easy for them to do this to Michael because Michael was going into the NFL, and Michael was going to make millions of dollars. So in their minds, why would he care that we're getting money off this film? It's about us anyway, right? That's where you're wrong, okay? That's where you're wrong. It's about Michael. It's Michael's film. It's about him. And I think he should have had more creative control, because anybody could look at that movie and say that was a horrible portrayal of this guy. Horrible. That movie was not about Leanne Tui. It was about a guy who went through a lot in his life. It wasn't about you, but they made it about her, and I think it pissed him off. And he's been pissed for a long time, and I think he held it in. If you look at the pictures from the time for his 8 years in NFL, he kept a close relationship with these people. Because he was in the NFL, he was more focused on his football career than going after them financially, because I think he thought these people cared about him. But I think once he retired, he realized these people don't care about me. They only cared about me because I was an NFL football player, and they cared about what they can get from me. That's very difficult to deal with. That would drive anybody crazy or make anybody upset. So no, I don't think he's just going after these people for no reason. Shout out to Jay Thomas, upgraded his membership to chat supporters. Appreciate that.
Oher alleges the Tuohys have falsely and publicly represented themselves as the adoptive parents of Michael, but never legally adopted him. Instead, Oher says the couple tricked him in 2004, less than 3 months after he turned 18, into signing a document that made Sean and Leanne Tui his conservators, giving them full legal control over any of his contracts, but no familial relationship. It's a lie Oher says he discovered to his chagrin and embarrassment just 6 months ago.
A conservatorship is very different from an adoption. A conservatorship does not create a family relationship. It creates a legal responsibility.
With that power, the petition alleges the Tuohys negotiated the movie deal for The Blind Side in 2006. Oher claims the family made millions in royalties, while Oher says he received no payment whatsoever. The Tuohys have not responded.
Now again, that is very easy to disprove. If the Tui family paid him, they could easily go to their records, and their lawyers can put the records out here and say, listen, we did pay him, look. But giving somebody money and them making money off the film is not the same.
People really believed the Tuohys taught him how to play football
right.
SMH. He was an All-American before he even met them.
Right. The guy was on his way to college. He was on his way to college. Shout out to Wardam ATL. He was already on his way to college. He didn't need your son to teach him anything about football.
To comment, but in their 2010 book, In a Heartbeat, they said of the money made from the movie, we divided it 5 ways. Sean Tui Jr. said in an interview today the family was not surprised by the lawsuit.
There were things back in 2020, 2021 that were like, if you guys give me this much, then I won't go public with things.
No, Angela C. It's titled this way because Michael Oher, the family's saying Michael Oher lied on them. They're saying that Michael Oher got his cut of the money from the film, that he is defaming them, even though they haven't filed any countersuits yet. That's what the family is saying. They're heartbroken, even though the son says he's not surprised. It's funny how the son isn't surprised, but the family claims they're heartbroken by this. And so they're saying that he lied and said that he's lying about being finessed by them. For anybody that's here. For anybody that's just coming into the chat room, he's saying the family finessed him. The family is saying they did not. And they're calling him a liar. Even though they've put out no paperwork. Now, they may end up doing it. But as of right now, no paperwork has been dropped. Because, again, it would be easy to throw his lawsuit out. Hey, bro, they paid you. Look at your check. This is your cut of the movie. We gave him, they gave you $8,000. They got $200,000, and they gave you $8,000. Look, you see that $8,000? You see right there? The $8,000 that you got for your cut of the movie? When they say they split it 5 ways, they said they split it. They mean to say we split it 4 ways, but we gave Michael something. He's already in the NFL. Why we need to give him money? It's that, right? Because again, if he's gotten his cut of the movie, his lawsuit is going to be thrown out. It's going to be thrown out. Now, they still do have conservatorship over him, right? He's trying to get that taken away too. And apparently the family claimed that they're not going to dispute trying to turn over conservatorship. But I still think it's dirty for them to make him sign a conservatorship. Right?
Michael Oher is now 37 years old and retired after playing 8 seasons in the NFL. He is asking the court to end the conservatorship and prohibit the Tuohys from using his name and likeness and pay him his fair share.
He said his fair share, not $8,000. You know, you got 200,000 plus years of royalties, and I got like $8,000. That's not my fair share. My fair share, I want the cut that y'all got. I want my initial payment plus royalties. That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he's looking for. He feels like he got finesse. Now, this is an interview that he just did a day ago on Jim Rome. Let's take a look.
He is a Super Bowl champion, a first-round NFL draft pick. Michael joins us here in studio. Mike, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
My pleasure. First, football question. You played under Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
And now Hugh is back at the SEC. You played for him under Ole Miss, at Ole Miss. Now he's back at Auburn.
Yep.
Hugh has had some ups and downs in his career as well, but in this book, you talk about how much you appreciate him, that you're still friends to this day. So tell me about your relationship with Hugh and how you think he'll do at Auburn.
I think personally he'll do fantastic. We could date all the way back to high school, and he was my high school football coach. And he was...
See, Hugh Freeze was his high school coach.
One of the first mentors I saw do it the right way, football-wise, off the field, fundamentals, technique. I learned from him that the coach is way more important than the player, because I saw a bunch of guys who didn't quite have the talent beat a lot of guys who had tons of talent. And that's where, fundamentals and technique became a big emphasis in, how I approach the game of football. But at Auburn, he FaceTimes me all the time when he has a big-time recruit in and, lets me talk to the big-time recruits. But I think he's a genius offensively, and I think he'll do fantastic right away.
Mm. You played with some of the greats, and you were on that Super Bowl team that ended Ray Lewis's storied and famed career. You won the Super Bowl with the Ravens in 2012. What was the fire from Ray like? We saw what it was on screen. What was it like behind the scenes?
I still get chills watching his videos today. Behind the scenes, you come in. I came in, I think he was in year 12 or something. So he was fairly into his career. So, we looked up to Ray Lewis, every guys like that, like they were Marvel characters. So to have him be able to go out on the field pregame and just get us pumped up, man, he could just look at us. We'll get fired up, man. So, no, it was tremendous. My locker was right next to him. We used to hang out and, to be around guys like that. If he hadn't said he was going to retire a few weeks before the playoffs started, I don't think we would have won the Super Bowl.
Really?
Because for me, everybody locked in. You think guys like that are going to play forever. When he talked to the team, I told him, man, I thought you was going to retire with me. So we couldn't believe it. I think everybody developed a sense of purpose, a sense of urgency, and, headed toward one goal. And for him to retire on top, it meant a lot.
One theme from this book and some of the other interviews you've done is that what you see is not always the truth, and that there's a lot of narratives out there that may not be even attached to truth. And you mentioned Cam Newton in this. You were a teammate of his in Carolina. You guys went to the 2015 Super Bowl, lost to the Denver Broncos, but you said your interactions with him, very different than how the public perceived him. They thought he was a different guy. What was the guy that you knew?
Well, I think we relate because
Okay, I'm
I
probably
felt-
going to
I feel
skip
that
through
I'm
this. I'm going to skip
misunderstood. I
through
feel
some of
to
this.
get to know people, but
shell, when in reality, you were a workaholic, you were hyper organized side, and that people might have the wrong idea of your personality, number one, that you were this kind of shy wallflower, that you were timid and you had to be kind of like drawn out of your shell, when in reality, you were a workaholic, you were hyper organized, and you were like, damn it, I'm making something of myself no matter what it takes after a rough background. Is that the big one that you feel you were mislabeled as?
I think it took away the hard work and the dedication that I created from a child, and going to school in the 3rd grade, getting myself up, first one in the locker room, last one out. And I think the biggest for me is, being portrayed, not being able to read or write.
Right. Like, I know that had to sting, man. Because, again, his family had input on that movie. That's why they got big checks. That's why they got cut those checks, because they had input on the movie. They could have said, hey, listen, he's not mentally ill. He's very intelligent. But none of that translated to the movie. None of that translated to the movie. You could have portrayed Michael as a smart, intelligent guy that just needed some guidance. Why did you treat him like he, just was just so like mentally out of it? Like, that was crazy. But people got to understand, he accepted the movie, but he didn't like it, but he didn't make that huge of a fuss. He voiced his displeasure with it, but it wasn't vehement, right? It wasn't vehement displeasure with the movie. He just said, I don't like it, But I'm pretty sure that stung when he saw his portrayal on that film.
2nd grade, I was doing plays and in front of the school. And I think that's one of the, when you go into a locker room and your teammates don't think you can learn a playbook, that weighs heavy.
Wow. But y'all don't think he has a right to be upset? His own teammates don't think he could read or write.
On someone, and you have to understand, I understand that the movie has given me a position. I'm honored to have the position it's given me, but, you have to understand, before I moved in with the family, I was an All-American. That's what I want the generations behind me to see in this book right here, to understand that you don't have to have someone save you and rescue you to go out and be successful. You got every tool in you. And this book right here is a playbook on life. Looking yourself in the mirror when I was 11, 12-year-old kid, telling myself, hey, everyone around you is in an even worse situation that you're in. So you're going to have to get up and do this thing yourself, and developing a routine right then, when I could have given up at 11, 12-year-old, as an 11 to 12-year-old kid. So that's what I'm trying to paint the message in this book right here. And looking through everything that I went through and finding the positive in it.
And it wasn't that you don't have gratitude to the family that took you in. That's really
very
not the
grateful.
message.
Very grateful for every family that helped me throughout this journey. It's a lot of people that deserve a lot of credit. For me, I want to show the young people and everyone behind me that, hey, you deserve some credit for your hard work. You can get it done. And that's really the goal.
So for those that don't know,
again, he says he's grateful for all the families that have helped him get to where he is. He says that he's grateful to all these families, not just the Tuohys, for helping him get to where he is. None of those families had him sign a conservatorship paperwork. None of them. None of those families that he says helped him had him sign a conservatorship. None of them.
Oh, you grew up in a really difficult situation. No one in your family had aspired to really have a career. Many didn't want a job. The people that you were around didn't have anything to do most days. Poverty homelessness, the projects in Memphis. You were just surrounded by a culture of there's really nothing to life. There's no way out. But you somehow figured out that you needed to see something else. I think you described it as like standing in front of an ocean when you walk to the edge of the projects, that there was a whole something out there that you had no idea about. How'd you gain a perspective in a cycle that usually doesn't allow that?
I think I was blessed with being on the streets from the time I was 3 years old, in and out of foster care from 3 to 10, on the streets for a year.
You were blessed.
Yes, on the streets for a year after running away from foster home at 10 years old and being placed in a mental hospital and running away from there a few.
At 10 years old, he was running away from foster homes. He got placed in a mental hospital around that same time. You're right. You know, that family is right. This guy knew everything that was going on with him, right? There's no way, shape, or form he could have been taken advantage of, right? When you come from abject poverty, you have no home life whatsoever, no parents, no nothing. You're being raised by the streets. But we need to give all the praise and glory to this family who he was barely with. Let's be real about this.
Weeks later, and the state just gave up on me, gave back custody. And the struggles that I had early on, being in and out of homes, on the streets, I needed a routine. That's when I developed a routine, 11, 12 years old, going to school on my own in the 3rd grade. And from there on... and
your family, not to interject, but a lot of crack addiction amongst your family and your parents. You didn't know your dad.
That was the norm. That was the norm at the time. That's the way we grew up. But you grow up so fast, like I said, you understand what's right and what's wrong. So from that point on, when I started going to school on my own, I was going to do the right thing because I knew what the wrong thing was, and I didn't want to be that. And I saw what it did to my family, and I saw the situation that we was in. So, I was going to put it in my mind and imagine a future and go chase that was better than what I was around. So I think that was the most important thing, was having those struggles early on and being so tired as an 11-year-old kid and forcing myself to, just go to school every day and just be away from that environment and picture myself somewhere else. So I think routine, discipline, and being consistent is the key to everything. Without a routine, man, everyone I know who doesn't have a routine, their life's in shambles. So that's everything to me. I think the struggles, it blessed me and it helped me get off the streets a lot earlier than some others would.
Michael Oher joins us in studio. You had such an interesting observation here in the book, and that was that you can read in people's eyes, especially young people that have been through foster care, what internally they're thinking or their reaction to you. And you said you developed that when you were young because you read body language because it means survival when you're young and on the street.
For sure.
How'd that happen?
Well, it's just that, knowing body language, knowing that you're on couch to couch and someone else, when you're in that situation, the next person can't feed themselves. So some extra mouth can't be around, can't stay too long. So, the first couple of days, it's just like when you see somebody, your new friend, you're happy to see him. Hey, what's going on, man? Blah, blah, blah. And then after a day or so, it becomes, hey, what's up? So that's my cue. It's time to go because I've worn out my welcome. So I know body language. I try to continue to be positive. Whenever I see you, I try to be the same personality-wise, same energy. And it gets, mentally, I wouldn't wish it on anybody because you continue, you have to be at war. You have to be on cue at all times because you don't know when someone's going to tell you your time's up.
You talk about food insecurity in this book as well, not knowing if you're going to open up the fridge and anything's going to be in there. How devastating is that to young people that deal with this because they can't afford to go out and buy their own food? And you talk about you walk through grocery stores and convenience stores and wondered, is today the day I starve or is today the day I steal food?
No, I was never going to starve. I was always too competitive. I'm going in the store. I'm going to get what I need. I'm getting out of there. So that's not going to happen. Trust me on that one. But it leads to bigger things as you grow older. Those are just petty crimes. Me stealing as a kid, surviving and putting food in the refrigerator. That's just something I had to do. But what it leads to poor academics in the classroom, behavior problems, and then a few years later, those crimes become armed robberies and a lot more dangerous crimes. So, that's what hunger does. It's a bigger problem than just trying to survive as a kid.
What food does a 10-year-old kid swipe to make it through the day?
Hey, I was a nice-sized kid, so, man, I didn't go swipe chips and candy bars, man. I went and stole chicken and pizzas. I got the big stuff, man. I'm not...
Listen, this is what goes on out here, man. This is what goes on out here in the streets. When these kids don't have a home, this is what's going on. This is what's going on, people. This is what's going on. This is the situation that they are put in, unfortunately. Right?
I'm not going to get a candy bar at the store, man. Let's be real here. I'm trying to eat for a couple of days. But, hey, that's what it was all about, surviving, though. So anything that I could get, I was trying to get it.
I'm thinking about Michael Oher, like supermarket sweep, pushing a bunch of candied hams through the exit door. Hey, see you guys tomorrow.
I put a ham in a coat.
You did?
I will. Thanksgiving's coming up, man. We got to eat. Come on, man. We starving out here.
Man.
Thank you so much.
So that is probably what contributed to Michael Oher ending up living with the Tuohys. Because of situation, but see that's the story that you probably hear from a lot of guys growing up, man. And I'm sure somebody as big as Mike was out here just taking all that. You know what I'm saying? He eat meals, not snacks. You know what I'm saying? Right, and that's why school is difficult when you have to worry about your next meal. If the Tuohys really loved and cared about Michael, they would have no reason to claim conservatorship over him and his money he earned as a... Right. Like, why would he need to sign a conservatorship? Players live with coaches all the time. You don't think those coaches are boosters? Those players that live with their basketball coach or their football coach, they end up going to maybe, a school that has a connection, because y'all got to understand, these colleges be having connections to these high schools, and they end up going to some of these colleges, man. They never had to sign conservatorships. This is the first time I've ever heard about an athlete who went and lived with a family signing a conservatorship. Because if it was going to be such a problem of him staying there, I'm pretty sure they could have found another family for him to stay with. He didn't have to stay with them then if it was going to be such a problem. Yeah, but he has a story that needs to be talked about. Right? Jimmy Butler lived with his high school coach. He had parents with drug problems. Right. You have these guys in high school who end up living with their coaches. I mean, they don't sign conservatorships. This is the first time I've ever heard this. Yeah, I'm in a coat. We got to eat. This is my first time ever hearing about a high school athlete who turned 18 having to sign a conservatorship. Why not sign adoption? Wouldn't that have been easier? Yeah, he's still grateful.
It's sad because that was a beautiful story.
Absolutely. You know, his struggles, I think, you know, would make for a great docu-film. Right? Great docu-film. And after everything, now again, this interview with Michael Oher, this interview was from yesterday. I believe it was from yesterday or the day before. This interview. This is like a day or so ago. And even though he's suing them, he says he's still grateful for what they have done for him. There's no hate in his heart. He just wants what is owed to him. That's it. Facts, Jay, no conservatorship for Jimmy Buckets. Right. Well, why do you need to sign him to a conservatorship? It don't matter if you're a booster. Why don't you stop being a booster for a year? How about that? You could stop being a booster for a year and just promise not to give any donations to the school while Michael Oher is living with you. They did not do that. So that looks bad to say, well, because they're boosters, he had to sign it. No, he didn't. There are ways around it. There are ways around it. He didn't have to sign that. He signed that because they talked him into it. They talked him into it. And you can see this interview for yourself, his personality. He doesn't seem like a confrontational guy. He seemed like a guy that can let things go. He let this go for years. He let this go for years. He doesn't seem like a bitter guy. You know how many people are bitter about their upbringing? He's not bitter at all. He just wants what's owed to him. That's it. He just wants the situation to be settled properly. He wants to, and the fact that they didn't end the conservatorship of him a long time ago says a whole lot about that family. I think a Michael Oher docu series could help a lot of people, because there are a lot of young people who are going through what Michael Oher went through. Right? I think a docu-series would be great. You chronicle his upbringing the proper way. You chronicle his upbringing to when he became a teenager, became a high school star, went to live with the Tuohys. After living with the Tuohys, I think that would make for a great show or movie. But I think it should be a docu-series. I think they need to get every detail. Don't leave nothing out. Every detail, just about, right? Don't cut no information out. We want every detail of what happened. And I think a docu-series, the right type of docu-series could really help. And listen, it ain't even got to be about the Tuohys. It could be more about Michael and his true story. And the fact that The Blind Side was not a true story. I think that's why he wants to end the conservatorship, because he wants to probably have more control over his likeness. And the fact that these so-called good people in 2023 still are his conservators says a lot about these people. Another guy, Justin Blackmon, who played with Oklahoma State, then got drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars, was taken in by a white family. Right. You got a lot of these athletes that y'all may know of, you may not know of. They lived with a white family their senior year before they went to college. And I think he wants to do that, but I think he wants to get the reason why, let me tell y'all, the reason why Mike has taken him to court is because I think he's tried to get this conservatorship ended and they refuse to do it. I'm pretty sure he sent them paperwork and said, listen, I need y'all to end this conservatorship. And I think they probably gaslighted him and gave him the runaround. So now he has to go to court. If they would have ended the conservatorship a long time ago, we wouldn't be here. But because they have control over his life, they can make money off of him. This is the area that we are in now. They control his likeness even to this day. If he was just signing paperwork to get around the fact that they were boosters and they ended the conservatorship maybe a couple of years later, we wouldn't be here. They are still his conservators after all these years. That don't sound right. That sounds like somebody that's been making money off his name for a long time. I'm pretty sure he knows. I'm pretty sure he sees the events that they put on with his name attached to it. But because he probably is like, you know what, whatever, right? Like, he doesn't seem like an angry type. I don't think he wanted to drag this out publicly. I think this is a last resort. This was a last resort. I think this was a last resort for Michael Oher. I don't think Michael Oher wanted to drag this out publicly, but I don't think they gave him much choice. Because the family, look how the family's reacting. Gaslighting, saying, well, we gave him a cut. Well, how much? Is he getting royalties? Because y'all getting royalties. According to Michael Oher, the family's getting royalties. Where's his royalty check at? They may have cut him a check, but he's not getting royalties off his own film. But there are people who are so quick to side with the family. It's sad, man, because the family made no attempt to try to end their conservatorship of Michael Oher. They made no attempt. So that is why I am suspect of them. Because how come after all these years you have not ended your conservatorship? It's because it's too lucrative. I would not want to be some functional adult's conservator if they can handle their own affairs. Why are you still this man's conservator? Yeah, they've been living good off his money. People talking about, look at their net worth. You don't think Michael Oher helped that net worth? They've built a brand off of his name. How many sponsorships and business deals have they cut because of Michael Oher? They've made more money off his name. Why have they not ended the conservatorship? But people want to demonize Michael Oher for fighting for his name. I think the reason why this took so long, one, Michael Oher was collecting receipts. And two, I think he didn't want to believe that this family did this to him. But you still got people trying to act like he's betraying this family. Excuse me. They are his conservators in 2023. He signed the paperwork in 2004 when he was 18. And in 2023, at 37, they are still his conservators. Why is that? Can somebody explain why they still are his conservators? They're making too much money off of it. So that's why they didn't end it. But you got people trying to tell me they didn't make no money off of it. How do you know? You don't think Michael knows how much money they've been making? Yeah, they're still making royalties off his movies to this day. I'm sad and hurt. You're that man's conservator. Why haven't you ended the conservatorship? It's because you're still making money off of his name. Yeah, Jay, they weren't even at his wedding. He didn't want those people around him, or maybe they didn't want to be around Mike because they know how full of shit they are. But you got people emailing me telling me I'm wrong. That's why you're blocked. You lame idiot. You know who you are. Stop sending me those ridiculous emails and get a life. Or get a woman if you can actually get a woman. Why are they still that man's conservators in 2023? Y'all can't explain that away to me. They still that man's conservator in 2023. You can't explain that away. They really thought they was gonna get away with it. They really thought they was gonna live off this man's name. I saw right through that family when they did that behind the scenes look at Michael Oher and his family. They did like a I'm gonna say a documentary. They did sort of like a docu. I don't know if it was a docu show or it was a show about Michael Oher and the Tui family, right? And they showed the Tui family, and I remember this. I remember this to this day. They had a closing shot of the family getting on a private jet to go see Michael play for the Baltimore Ravens. And just it just seemed off when I saw that. I'm like, they getting on that jet like they the stars. Like, you ain't won nothing. You ain't worked out in the gym. You weren't on the field. You weren't out there with the pads on. Why you think you the star? That's the vibe I got, and that was over 10 years ago. That was over 10 years ago. Salute to everybody that's here. I got a vibe that they thought they were the celebrities. Yeah, they got on a private jet to go see Michael Oher play. I'm like, what? I mean, are y'all the star? And it just, the vibe I got from them, from the daughter and the son, it just felt like a family that done hit, like they done hit gold. They hit pay dirt, right? It just something about that just didn't seem right. And I'm like, where's Michael's black family? Wasn't his brother at the draft night? Why wasn't his brother on the private jet with you? But you claim that you care about Michael? Yeah, I'm like, y'all not stars. And don't let me get started on Leanne Tui. Oh my God. You talk about an opportunist energy. She has some of the most opportunistic energy I've ever seen. That is why we are here at this moment. And people want to make it seem like he's just doing this for absolutely no reason. He has no reason to call this family out. This family did everything for him. How do you know? You don't know if their relationship is like. You don't know if Michael has talked to them and has asked them about getting, money that's owed to him from that film, and they've been kind of like playing games with him. We don't know that. And because Michael isn't a confrontational person, which they probably know, Michael's not a confrontational person, so he didn't push it. But this is what it's all about. This woman thinks that she's a celebrity at the time. I think the character that Sandra Bullock played, I think Leanne Tui thinks that's her. I think she tried to play, because I'm pretty sure she was around Leanne, and I'm sure that Leanne gave her a direction of how she wanted her character to be, and that's what Sandra Bullock did. That's what Sandra Bullock did. Opportunistic energy. Listen, even if he was broke, does it mean that he should be taken advantage of at 37 years old over some paperwork that he signed when he was 18? He can't even make his own docu-series probably, or a movie, because they still are his conservators. Y'all know that? So he basically is at the mercy of this family financially when it comes to profiting off his own name and likeness. Y'all know of NIL, right? NIL, name, image, and likeness. That's the big thing in college sports, right? You got a lot of these college athletes who are making a lot of money doing NIL. If Michael Oher had gotten NIL deals, the family would have made all the money. That's what this means. If Michael Oher in 2004 would have signed an NIL deal, or even in 2005 when he was 19, if he would have signed an NIL deal, they would have gotten all his money. She would have gotten all his money, or the family would have gotten all his NIL money, because he signed over his name, image, and likeness over to them. So therefore, they would have taken any deal he would have struck, they would have gotten the money, because they are his conservators. So they would have gotten his money. I've delved into conservatorship before. I know what it means. It means that that person's finances is yours. Okay? That's what that means. What's up, David? If he would have signed an NIL deal, they would basically be making his money, because he signed his image away. Yeah, they would have took all his money. Would have took all his NIL money, because there are his conservators, right? Listen, I'm not going that far, Sir Lance. I'm not here to take nobody's Oscar. I think Sandra Bullock worked hard for that role. I'm not going to sit here and say that she should give back anything. I'm not there. I'm not there. I think she earned that role. Whether people want to accept it or not, she did her job. It's not her fault that she portrayed a scammer. It's not her fault. She took a job. She got paid to do the job. She did it well. It is what it is. If he would have gotten NIL money back then, they would have took all of it, because they were his conservators. That's why it didn't make sense for him to sign that. Why would you sign that? Unless you don't know what being a conservator means. That's why these young kids, these teenagers who are signing NIL deals, they have lawyers, they have agents now. Okay? They're not signing their likeness over to nobody. And people who are defending it, they only see white people as victims. The only victim that I could see here is Michael. Because they should have never have him sign a conservatorship. It didn't make sense for an 18-year-old to sign a conservatorship paperwork. It didn't make sense. He is suing them. He is suing them. But listen, we'll see what happens. I've said all I need to say. This was my response because I made a video, initial video on this, and I stand on a lot of what I said because again, the family has to prove that they have actually paid him for the royalties. Like, you know, I'm not just talking about, you know, you gave him a check. I'm talking about royalties. Did Michael Oher get royalties? He says he didn't get not one royalty check. That's the video I did the other day. Did Michael Oher get any royalties? He did not. They have to prove without a doubt that Michael Oher has received royalties from the movie. I don't think they're going to be able to do that. I really don't. And that's why Michael took him to court, because in 2023, these people are still his conservators. They should have ended his conservatorship when he got to the NFL, and they did not do that because they're making money off of this black man. Shout out to everybody that's here. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all being here. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this stream up. Make sure y'all follow me on all the platforms. Facebook, Twitter. Hold on, let me put this. Also, I'm on TikTok. I got some very well put together clips on TikTok. Make sure y'all go and check that out. I put up a one of my reels, which was actually a YouTube short, on my Instagram. My Instagram blew up. I got over 50,000 views on the video that I did about the heifer that used her daughter as a shield. Man, y'all need to go look at that comment section. That comment section is a train wreck. 50,000 views on my IG reels. The comments are crazy. And I meant to address this, so I'm going to address it now since I'm live. If you're more concerned about a joke than about the fact that this woman held her daughter as a shield, you are a broken individual and you need psychological help. You really do. You have people that were more concerned about a joke that I made about calling the woman a black queen than they are about this woman holding her daughter hostage. You people are sick, you're disgusting, and you will make any excuse for a black woman. And that's why these women have absolutely no accountability for the things that they do. I mean, y'all are just over there making a fool of yourself. Why would you call her a black queen? It's a joke. Black and Blue TV says there are freshmen with 10 to 20K VVS diamonds. Listen, bro, I'm telling you, these college campus, these dudes got on chains and they driving like luxury cars. That's that NIL money, man. You know, that's that NIL money. They don't need no conservator. They say F a conservator. We don't need no conservators. You know, we sign our own deals. We not signing nothing over to you. O'Shea Dujack says, "What's up, Jay? Keep grinding." Okay. Well, shout out to O'Shea. He does a lot of great work over there. Putting a lot of work. But yeah, thank y'all for being here. Shout out to y'all. You're a great audience. Make sure that y'all like the stream. Follow me on all my platforms. Y'all know I do amazing work. I appreciate y'all supporting and showing up today. I know I don't be going live as consistently as I should. Hopefully soon I could change that. It's just that the topics, I gotta really be into the topics, because if I'm not in the topics, I'm not even gonna want to, do live stream. All right, people, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all to the people that donated as well, moderators, channel members, Patreons. Thank y'all for being here. Make sure y'all sign up to Patreon as well. I'll see y'all later. Y'all take care. Have a great rest of your night, all right?